But the problem is that the measures that Prime Minister Modi has so far taken are quite superficial. Pakistan's retaliation was more decisive because until this moment, no one was questioning the Shimla Accord.
Yeah.
And now they have responded by putting the Shimla Accord in abeyance and suspension. And I can tell you this much, that while India is going to struggle to cut off water supply to Pakistan, it will take a while for them to do that. It's only, I think, in the dry seasons where Pakistan will suffer a little bit from the current capacity of India to stop water. But India...
No, but otherwise you feel Pakistan will not suffer so much because of the suspension of this treaty?
No, because India does not have the... It will take a while to build the dams to prevent the water from flowing.
Right.
It creates a humanitarian crisis in Pakistan, then India is going to have to explain it to the international community. And can you imagine this... the situation where the UN is coming to Pakistan's rescue while India is creating a humanitarian crisis with water. So this is not a long-term solution to this problem. The level of incompetence. First of all, there's intelligence failure, there is a security failure, and there is no game plan. Like, why is it taking so long for them to respond? Which means they don't have a set play, like saying that if they did this, we will do this, right? So they did it. Now, where is your response? Why are we waiting? It's 3 days that has passed, or 4 days now.
More than that,
and nothing is responded, right?
Yeah.
So they are thinking, they are deliberating right now. So that shows that they have not gamed the situation. They have not built the scenarios. I think limited war is something that the Pakistanis would love it, because right now the public opinion in Pakistan is against the army, is against Shahbaz Sharif. But if there is a war with India, the public will rally behind them. And suddenly, Shahbaz Sharif will become legitimate, Munir will become popular. And Pakistan is a powerful country. It has F-16s, there will be some retaliation every time India strikes. But what is important is, if India really wants to punish Pakistan, it will have to be a big war, where there is a devastation of a lot of assets. And can India afford to do that? Can India afford to fight a 3-month war with Pakistan?
Post the Pahalgam terror attack, there are many questions being raised as to what India should be doing now. Initially, India has taken some 5 retaliatory measures, like they've suspended the Indus Water Treaty, they've closed the Atari border, they've downscaled the High Commission. But beyond that, what is the biggest challenge before the Modi government? Many experts feel that Modi has been trapped by Pakistan, and now there is almost a 3-front challenge which he has to face. Joining me now is a very special guest with us this evening, Dr. Muqtadar Khan, who is an expert who runs his own YouTube channel called Conversations, which is quite popular. He operates out of Delaware, and he's with us in Hyderabad today. Thank you so much, Dr. Khan, for joining. And my first question to you is that Pahalgam terror attack has become the buzzword as to what India's next step should be. Now, the 5 initial retaliatory steps which the government has taken, they look like mere symbolic steps. But beyond this, what should India be doing? And these symbolic measures, are they enough?
It is a very tragic incident, and quite a horrible one, especially given the brutal manner in which nearly 26 people were killed. And so what it has done is, it has brought a lot of despair, anger, and outrage. And this outrage is also a source of pressure on Prime Minister Modi to act decisively. And there has been so much of build-up about his masculine foreign policy. India is a rising power. So India has now sort of caught up in this challenge that Pakistan is. I'm sure Pakistan has played some role in this attack, where India has to respond in a way which looks as decisive as Prime Minister Modi has promised in the past. And even now he has promised to chase the perpetrators till the ends of the earth, right? So, but the problem is that the measures that Prime Minister Modi has so far taken are quite superficial. Okay, fine, you shut down the Atari border and you have downgraded the embassy. Those things don't matter. You've asked people who have come on visas to leave. The biggest and the most supposedly most impactful policy is the abeyance of the Indus Water Treaty. But the thing is that India has been trying for the last 2 years to try and renegotiate this treaty with Pakistan. There are two dams that India is trying to build on the western rivers, which Pakistan has objected to. So India's development has been stunted by this treaty, which is since 1960. So India was on the verge of basically negating this
Suspending
treaty anyway,
Right.
just making it negation.
And they've just found an excuse
Yeah. So,
today.
so in that sense, it is not something very decisive. In fact, Pakistan's retaliation was more decisive because until this moment, no one was questioning the Shimla Accord.
Yeah.
And now they have responded by putting the Shimla Accord in abeyance and suspension. And I can tell you this much, that while India is going to struggle to cut off water supply to Pakistan, it will take a while for them to do that. It's only, I think, in the dry seasons where Pakistan will suffer a little bit from the current capacity of India to stop water. But India...
No, but otherwise you feel Pakistan will not suffer so much because of the suspension of this treaty?
No, because India does not have the... It will take a while to build the dams to prevent the water from flowing.
Right.
But remember this, that while many countries and leaders have condemned terrorism, no one has condemned Pakistan yet.
Yeah.
Right? They are waiting for India to prove that Pakistan was behind it. So if India creates a humanitarian crisis in Pakistan, then India is going to have to explain it to the international community. And can you imagine this, the situation where the UN is coming to Pakistan's rescue while India is creating a humanitarian crisis with water? So this is not a long-term solution to this problem. But the Shimla thing is quite serious because there are three things that came out of the Shimla Accords in 1972. One was recognition of Bangladesh, which cannot be repealed because Bangladesh is a member of the UN. The second was recognition of the line of control. But the third one was that both countries have agreed that all of their problems will be solved bilaterally. Now, if you suspend the Simla agreement, it gives Pakistan the chance to bring in Donald Trump or bring in UN Security Council or OIC or even Turkey. Turkey will jump forward and say we will play a role in negotiating, which is what India doesn't want. So I think the suspension of the Simla Accords will have an immediate diplomatic impact, whereas the suspension of the
Indus Water
Treaty is limited and it will take a while for it to have a real effect.
No, so like what you said, that if the Simla Accord has been suspended by Pakistan, so it will lead to a lot of diplomatic churning for India. It will create more challenges for Modi. Now, are the diplomats here not understanding that? Are the foreign policy experts not understanding who advised Modi, for a decision like this? And they would have preempted, I'm sure, this kind of a tic-tac from Pakistan, that they will respond in that manner, or didn't India preempt this?
So, see, first of all, I'm quite surprised at the level of incompetence. First of all, there's intelligence failure, there is a security failure, and there is no game plan. Like, why is it taking so long for them to respond? Which means they don't have a set play, like saying that if they did this, we will do this, right? So they did it. Now, where is your response? Why are we waiting? It's 3 days that has passed, or 4 days now.
More than that,
and nothing is responded, right?
Yeah.
So they're thinking, they're deliberating right now. So that shows that they have not gamed the situation. They have not built the scenarios. And I'm sure that the Simla thing has come as a surprise to them, because I haven't seen that in the recent literature that Pakistan would do that. But there's also a bit more, because if India wants to diplomatically, India will do a good job. They will try to isolate Pakistan, try to convince the rest of the world that Pakistan is a terrorist sponsor, and might even get some response from some European countries. But beyond that, India's military option, is India going to take a military option? That is a serious question. And there, I think India is in a much more difficult situation. If they do a small strike, Pakistan will immediately retaliate. And so it will be tit for tat. Maybe they will stop at that, and Modi will say, we taught them a lesson, and Munir will say, we taught them a lesson, it is over. But I'm not sure that there's so much hype in India about this issue that people will be happy. The second thing is that I didn't realize until now that a vacation to Kashmir is just as expensive as a vacation to Europe. Apparently, it costs a lot. So the people who have been killed are upper middle class people. So this is a new segment which has a lot of voice, a lot of power. So a lot of very rich people are saying, "Oh my God, this can happen to us," and so there will be more pressure on the government to do something about it. So the Modi government will have to act decisively.
So you were saying that Modi probably might not go in for an option of a smaller strike. He might think of a bigger strike.
Yes, but the biggest threat is a major war or a limited war. I think limited war is something that the Pakistanis would love it, because right now the public opinion in Pakistan is against the army, is against Shahbaz Sharif. But if there is a war with India, the public will rally behind them. And suddenly Shahbaz Sharif will become legitimate, Munir will become popular. And Pakistan is a powerful country. It has F-16s, there will be some retaliation every time India strikes. But what is important is, if India really wants to punish Pakistan, then it will have to be a big war, where there is a devastation of a lot of assets. And can India afford to do that? Can India afford to fight a 3-month war with Pakistan? Pakistan's economy will be totally devastated, but it will also put a lot of pressure on India's economy. And this year is very bad for all economies, as it is because of Donald Trump and his tariffs. So I don't know whether Prime Minister Modi is going to risk slowing down India's economy from, say, 6.3, 6.2 to 5.5. And so these are serious considerations. That's why it's taking them so long.
No, but so which means, and I think I'm understanding that correctly, that Pahalgam attack, the terror attack, has brought in a lot of geopolitical challenges for Modi. And would it be correct to say that Modi is actually trapped now after this attack?
He's trapped on many levels. See, once he's been bragging that we hum ghar mein ghus ke marenge and all of that. So now is the
and
time.
Kashmir is all normal.
Yeah. The second thing is that that since 370 was abrogated, this strategy is working so well. Kashmir is normal. To some extent, Kashmir is different, because there was a bunch there, and the Kashmiris are very upset. There are photographs of Dal Lake boat people condemning terrorism. But if India responds with a counter-terrorism strategy inside Kashmir, already bulldozing homes and stuff like that, it is going to make people angry. And it is also going to hurt the economy if the tourism drops. So that will increase radicalization. So in some ways, what has happened is both the domestic policy in Kashmir and the foreign policy in South Asia are failures. I mean, there's no doubt. I can tell you categorically, my undergraduate students will say, yes, India's South Asia policy is a failure. Look at its problems with Maldives. Look at its problems with Bangladesh. Look at its problems with Nepal, Pakistan, China. The only people that Modi and the Hindu nationalists hate are Islamic radicals. And the only friend they have in South Asia are Taliban. So the best friend of India these days in South Asia are the people they hate, which are the Islamic radicals. It's as if God is playing a joke on the Modi government.
No, but what I'm failing to understand is that cannot the policy experts sitting within the government who are advising Modi, what are they doing? They cannot open their eyes and see what's exactly happening in front of them.
Well,
I mean, if you and me can preempt certain things, we can imagine that, okay, this could be the possibility. Why aren't the people who are sitting on the driver's seat now not able to preempt all this?
So I interview a lot of former ambassadors and former generals, and sometimes the conversations after the recording is longer than during the recording. And all the former ambassadors criticize me because they say that I am overestimating the autonomy of Dr. Jaishankar. They say that in Narendra Modi's government, no minister has autonomy. It's very authoritarian system. So how can you give advice to somebody who knows everything? Right? That is the challenge. Is Modi open to alternative ideas coming from other people? That is the question I don't have an answer to. But I have spoken, there's another person with your last name, Mr. Vyas, who has a Gujarati channel, if you know, who was working with Prime Minister Modi when he was Chief Minister of Gujarat. And he told me there is no chance that Dr. Jaishankar is going to give a explanatory lecture to Modi saying this is the scenario, and so Modi comes knowing everything, and then now Dr. Jaishankar has to execute it. So I think from that point of view, plus a
No,
lot of
but this time, don't you think that the scenario would be different? Because in the last 10 years, I have never seen any cabinet minister, or for that matter, even prime minister, acknowledging that, look, we've gone wrong. But after Pahalgam, this all-party meeting which happened, Kiran Rijiju came out, who's the union minister. He said that, yes, we've gone wrong. And apparently they've acknowledged that there was something wrong. Then off the record information which was coming out, and they said that probably they did not inform the enforcement agencies, and they opened their entire area to the tour operators. Now that's again a major flaw. So now that they have acknowledged the problem, what I mean, could there be a turning point in this entire thing which has happened?
There are two ways to do it. See, one is the strategic recognition that they have made a strategic error, which means that the intelligence and the military have to realize and they have to correct it.
Yeah.
But then there is a political side to it also.
Yeah.
There is a lot of rumblings more than ever that this was a false flag operations.
Yeah.
This is to help take the attention of the Waqf bill or the Bihar elections. So there's a lot of talk going on. So I think one way to fight that is to say, no, this is a genuine attack. We made a mistake, and so that's why this attack happened. And I think I was quite surprised because even the Pakistani guy went on television in the US and said, we have done evil things for the United States. So on both sides, there is some acknowledgement that they are culpable. But I'm not very sure that Modi will say my vision for Kashmir and my vision for South Asian foreign policy is wrong. They're just admitting a tactical error.
No, but I mean, I'm just wondering, because people are questioning about the fact that there should be certain accountability fixed in this particular case, since there has been a serious security lapse, there has been an intelligence failure, with the government now acknowledging themselves that yes, they've gone wrong. Where do you think that the buck stops here?
See, the buck has two stops. One with Ajit Doval and the second with Narendra Modi. Ajit Doval has been there for
No, but what about Home Minister Amit Shah? They are also on two sides.
Yes.
Like Ajit Doval and Amit Shah apparently don't get along well.
There are also those people who say that Ajit Doval and Amit Shah work together better because on the Canada and the US fiasco, when the US was saying we need high-level accountability for what happened, they were talking about Ajit Doval and Amit Shah. So there is this perception that even though that's why Dr. Jaishankar was not involved in talking much about, because he threw the ball away. It is basically Amit Shah and Ajit Doval. But the problem is that there have been so many failures of intelligence, but nobody has been held accountable. Bangladesh was a disaster. There should have been a parliamentary inquiry on how come we didn't know this.
About Sheikh Hasina.
Yeah. When 9/11 happened in the United States, we created new departments. We created this new position which Tulsi Gabbard has, Director of National Intelligence, was created after 9/11. We created the DHS, was not there before it. So we created this to make sure that 9/11 does not happen again. So there was, India lost a client state, Bangladesh, basically, and there was no inquiry, no discussion. And one of the problems is that the mainstream media does not ask serious questions. That particular moment, आप आम काट के खाते हैं या चूस के खाते हैं, is a metaphor for the mainstream media. The kind of questions I am asking you, don't you think that there are at least 1,000 professors in New Delhi and former military, former diplomats who can ask these same questions, but they're not.
No, but that's happening because there's so much of fear that, what the government would do to you or to me or to journalists or even the activists.
They will lose their pensions.
Yes. So, but the point now is that after Pahalgam, do you see this terror attack as some kind of a turning point when it comes to the strategic planning of the government, when it comes to foreign policy planning? Do you think that the government will be open to some kind of a change?
I think it's a very tricky situation for Modi because he has a very narrow path to
Because
victory.
he politically seems to be losing more with that.
He has a very narrow path to success, and that could be using proxies inside Pakistan to kill some few senior leaders known Lashkar-e-Taiba type of groups.
Right.
If they kill 5 or 6 people, then Modi can say, "Ghar mein ghus ke maar diya," right? And that's all he needs to say. And then there are lots of people like Arnab Goswami who will fill in the blanks for the public, right? But the thing is, if he doesn't do that, then he has a problem that public's expectations are not being solved. But there are genuine policy failures. This is a serious failure. It could happen again next month. Why next month? It could happen tomorrow because those guys haven't been caught. अगर वो वापिस आ गए तो, or you could even lose soldiers, God forbid, while getting them. Imagine you have a colonel or a major who is shot trying to capture them. So this problem has not gone away. So they have to rethink their strategy, and in order to rethink, they'll have to acknowledge that what they were doing was not enough or not correct.
So politically, which means that it's a real risky game which now Modi has to play. If he has to plan properly with Pakistan, with Bangladesh, with China. So so would you see this terror attack in Pahalgam as a real turning point coming in the way of Modi now?
You know, the one thing that I really want to know is, I wish I could find out what Mohan Bhagwat is thinking. Is this a thing that could lead to RSS force Narendra Modi to retire at 75? He's already 74 now, right? One more year to go. But if he wins this, Modi wins this, then he's contesting 2029. There is no doubt.
So you're saying that if this crisis arising out of Pahalgam, if he wins properly, then he's here to stay.
Yeah, he's here
and
to
if he
stay.
doesn't, he
Then
probably
he'll
will
have to
retire.
Then RSS will force him to retire.
No, but I haven't heard any person so far, if I have not missed it, that I haven't heard anybody from RSS speaking on this.
Not on record.
No, but RSS still is observing the centenary celebrations this year. So do you think that they will take that kind of a risk
The
to
problem is that
capsize the boat?
because there are so many problems in the world right now, there is the economic situation internationally, there is this three-front situation with Bangladesh. So Modi is probably telling RSS, do you think there is anybody else who can handle this? So RSS has no answer to that. But if he fails with, Pahalgam, then they say, well, you are also failing, so what's the point? Let's give a young man a chance. Yeah. I don't know who the young man is. Gadkarni, or I don't know who they have in their mind. But for the last 2 years, Mohan Bhagwat has many times criticized Modi directly or indirectly, suggesting that they need a change in style, if not in policy.
Well, last question before I wind up this interview, because back in America, you're dealing with the American citizens, how they look at Modi. You're dealing with a lot of academicians. They talk about Modi's policy decisions. And the kind of frenzy and the kind of euphoria which BJP tries to create, that look, we are the ones who are being looked upon. Modi is such a god figure over there. How do Americans really view Modi? In your circles, in your academic circles, in your American YouTubers, how do they treat Modi?
So if you take out the elite newspapers, Washington Post and New York Times, nobody talks about Modi. It's all China, Xi Jinping, China, Xi Jinping.
And nothing
no
else.
chatter about India, nothing at all since Trump has become president.
No, but recently when he went to America, was there a chatter on that?
No, not much at all. Just go and look at the top blogs. So, for example, Joe Rogan is the biggest blogger, right?
Yeah.
Trump went there, Kamala Harris did not go. They said that's one big read. He has like 57 million hits with Trump. Has he ever invited Modi? So all the big bloggers in the US, in India are getting him, but not the. It's like two different planets. The way India projects America's and Trump's relation. But talking about Trump, he did post a statement on his social Truth Social, which is kind of stupid. He says that India and Pakistan have been fighting for 500 years. This is what they also say about Palestine and Israel, that they've been fighting for 5,000 years. No, it didn't. But anyway, so he says some stupid things that they've been fighting for 500 years. But he said something which is troubling. He says, I'm very close to India and I'm very close to Pakistan, he said.
They've taken a diplomatic stand.
No, but the fact that he's saying I'm very close to Pakistan, which means he is not interested in taking sides.
True. That's right.
So that is a challenge for Dr. Jaishankar, that diplomatically, because the fact that post is stupid tells you that no one wrote it, Trump wrote it himself.
Yeah.
And so if Trump thinks that he's close to Pakistan, then he's not going to let India get away with whatever it wants with Pakistan.
Absolutely.
And
Thanks,
remember
sir.
one more thing.
Ah.
Trump gave $400 million to Pakistan just
Yeah.
recently. And
In fact, that reminds me, and before I wind up,
Sure.
what's going to be Trump's reaction? Now, supposing if Pakistan tries to garner support, they've already suspended the similar accord. How do you think America or Trump is going to react to this?
so if India projects this as radical Islam, terrorism, then India is going to get a lot of sympathy and support, but not like action support, but they will support India, which you saw from the statements. So every country, China, even China condemned it because China is also having problems with terrorism. But if India tries to drop the Islamic radical and just say Pakistan, then it becomes
Then it becomes
difficult.
a
That is the difficult thing diplomatically. But if they just post it as Islamic radicalism is threatening us, then Trump will say, of course. And if you look at Tulsi Gabbard's statement, she also said that, but she did not say Pakistan herself, right? So nobody has actually come out and condemned Pakistan. They are just condemning terrorist groups. But what India wants is to isolate Pakistan, to get it labeled as a terrorist sponsorship, and get the international community to punish Pakistan, right? Because they want to change its behavior.
That's an interesting take you've given. It was wonderful having you on the program. And
Thank you.
so lots to watch out as to what India will do next on the Pahalgam terror attack. But as Dr. Khan has just explained, that Modi seems to have got trapped, and not trapped only by Pakistan, but he's caught in a bind as far as other countries are concerned, like Bangladesh, China, Pakistan. How is that going to become a turning point? What will India do next? Lots of answers we need at this point of
And the
time.
best part of it is rather than 10,000 miles apart, we are just 10 inches apart.
Yes, and I must share this with the viewers that Dr. Khan was someone I've been just wanting to like meet, and in Hyderabad we got this opportunity, so I thought make the most out of it. And so, thank you so much,
You're welcome.
and thank you very much.